On a splendid spring evening, welcome to TCU School Field. You are looking at high school history. We're used to seeing helmets and pads here, but now we add sticks. For the first time ever, a high school lacrosse game on local TV as the Penn Kingsmen visit the top-ranked and defending state champion South Bend Bears on this edition of the 46th Game of the Week. And how you doing, everybody? Chuck Freeby, great to have you with us. And great to have you with us, Angelo DiCarlo. Welcome to the 46 Sports team.
Hey, I'm fired to be up here full-time now with you guys. Got a little taste of it in the high school basketball semi-state. That was electric, but the spring sports package is going to be great. And then tonight to be able to put a spotlight on high school lacrosse, an emerging sport here in the state of Indiana in the Midwest. I'm really excited, and it should be a great evening ahead.
And don't worry, Bo Hunt is not collecting unemployment. He'll be with us again next week. But let's frame these two teams for you. First of all, the Penn Kingsmen, very similar to what you might expect from their football team. They're physical and they play defense.
Yeah, I mean, the offense is still coming along, but they have that physicality. As you mentioned, they're going to hit you. They're going to use that to their advantage, and they have to do that against South Bend because South Bend has that energy, that excitement, and that high-powered scoring offense.
Oh, you mentioned that high-powered scoring offense. Since losing their first two games, Kane Hoy's squad has won 5 in a row, and they've been in double-digit goals in all 5 of those games.
Look, their third, fourth, fifth leading scorers have more goals than most of the guys on the Penn side of things. They can put the ball in the net. They can win the faceoffs. They can maintain the possession. So South Bend has a lot of advantages going their way. It's a reason why they're the defending state champions as well.
There's a lot of excitement here at School Field tonight. We're excited to be here. We hope you are as well. We've got those starting lineups, the key players, and the keys to win all next on the 46th Game of the Week.
This is the WHME TV 46 High School Game of the Week, brought to you by HealthLink, Precision Door, Hometown Pharmacy, Ivy Tech South Bend Elkhart, Health Markets Tony Letcher, Martin Supermarkets, Purdue Northwest College of Nursing, Bill's Heating, City of South Bend Golf, Reliance, Basney Honda, Warren Golf Course, Crown Trophy, and the IHSAA.
And this edition of the 46th Game of the Week being brought to you by HealthLink, your community health center. And welcome inside the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth. Chuck and Anj high above the fray here at TCU School Field as we get you ready with tonight's key players and keys to win. And when you look at this Penn team, while they've struggled somewhat on offense, their leading scorer, a familiar name to Michiana fans. That would be Tommy Paulus. You know him as a football player. He was an all-NIC strong safety. Yes, the son of former Notre Dame quarterback Ron Paulus. But on this team, he's known for his offense. He leads the Kingsmen with 7 goals. But when they need stops, they turn to Patrick Lataro, their outstanding goalie. His .425 save percentage so far, maybe a little low compared to his opponent tonight, but it's been dynamite for the Kingsmen, especially in the last 2 games. The keys to win for Pete Gillen and the Kingsmen.
They want to handle the ball cleanly. They got to grab those ground balls cleanly. Don't give up the ball unnecessarily. They got to work in space. Not the best scoring team. They got to be patient, open things up for shots on goal. Play physical but smart. Look, they're the bigger team. They want to take advantage of that, but they don't want to pick up penalties because the South Bend Bears are excellent in man-up situations. Here's Coach Pete Gillen on the season so far for the Kingsmen.
Well, we're coming together. The first 3 games of the season were really tough, but they're starting to play together. They're starting to figure things out, and it's been fun to watch the development. So,
but we mentioned Tommy Paulus, the leading scorer for Penn with 7 goals. Wait till you hear the goal totals for the South Bend Bears. Guys like Ethan Breiler, their leading scorer, one of the leading scorers in the state, as he's got 25 goals on the year. The senior is dynamite around the net, and so too is his buddy Sam Troxel. Sam with 19 goals on the year from the attack position, and their experience as seniors really pays dividends. The keys to win for Kane Hoy and the South Bend Bears.
They want to maintain possession, score a goal, win the faceoff, play on and take it, make it, take it. Basically, is the name of the game, and they can do that because they're great on face-off situations. They got to win those ground balls. 50-50 balls so critical in sports, especially in the sport of lacrosse. Transition from defense to offense. Get a stop and get that explosive attack going. Here's Coach Kane Hoy on their season so far.
You know what? I mean, we're on a 5-game win streak. I think we are getting to that part of the season where we're really clicking. The chemistry's great. I really think we're coming together, and we're getting into that part of the season where we got a lot of games coming up too. So we're clicking, playing really well. We got a lot of games to go too.
The action should be fast and furious here at TCU School Field tonight. We are glad you've joined us for this one. High school lacrosse on the 46 Spring Sports Showcase. We've got the opening face-off coming up next on the Game of the Week. And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by Precision Door. When you call Precision Door, rest assured a talented professional will arrive at your door. Back at School Field, ready for high school lacrosse between Penn and the South Bend Bears, a series that goes back only to 2019. Penn leading the series by a count of 2-1. They won it last year on a Tommy Paulus goal late, 6-5, back on May 4th. Ready now for the starting lineups for the two teams. Here's Anj.
All right, you mentioned Tommy Paulus, the junior, 7 goals on the season, 3 goals in the win over Carroll. And then the defense, we talked about them in the open. Aiden Deal and Kyle Natusco leading the way. Big physical dudes leading the way for the Penn Kingsmen. And Clay Pica is the midi. He's also the face-off specialist, winning 51% of those face-offs. Now for the defending state champion South Bend Bears, Saul Zabukovic, a junior goalie, saving 62% of the shots against him. David Nagy is the defender. He's a junior. He's one of the top guys on that back line. And then you got Breiler, Troxel, and Nevela, the 53 goals between those three alone. And the midfielder who'll do a lot of the running up and down the field, Teddy Skenzel, a senior who attends Trinity. This team has a little bit of all of that. 7 different schools representing the South Bend Bears, Chuck.
See the teams lining up for the meeting with the officials. We'll tell you it is a glorious night here in South Bend. 70 degrees here at the opening face-off. The wind is blustery. It's not just a gentle zephyr tonight, kids. It's out of the southeast at 16, but only a 5% chance of precipitation. And the officials for tonight's game, very important. There's not only a shortage for high school officials from the IHSA, there is in lacrosse as well. So we appreciate the presence of Chris Patras, Andrew Parmenter, and Phil Batalis to be with us tonight, as Chris will be the referee, Andrew the umpire, and Phil the field judge. The two teams will not have the traditional face-off tonight. There's a rule in National High School Lacrosse that you have to have a continuous end line on the field. Very few fields in Michiana have it because most of them borrow football fields to use. So here at School Field, the back line is not continuous. It's broken up by the letters of the end zone. So South Bend has to forfeit the opening face-off, and Penn will take the opening draw here.
Or Penn has decided to maybe let them do the opening face-off, because it appears that is what's going to happen here. They have the two guys there at the face-off in the center circle, so we may be actually getting a face-off after all. And here with the play-by-play, the Hall of Famer, Chuck Freeby.
Clay Pica working against Ethan Breiler. They call the illegal procedure is called against Penn, and it'll be the South Bend Bears with the ball going into the attack zone with Ethan Breiler, their leading scorer, in control of the ball.
Breiler, the third leading scorer in the state with 25 goals.
That's Sam Troxel on the other side, wearing number 7. Basically, it becomes a 6-on-6 game at this end of the field. And you'll see a lot of plays that will resemble what you would see in a hockey game or perhaps a basketball game. There will be picks and cutters and things like that. And much like hockey, some of the action goes on behind the cage as well as Breiler goes back there to the X.
Kind of a combination of basketball, lacrosse, soccer, and football. All different types of sports get meshed in here for the sport of lacrosse.
Kane Hoy calls out the play for Sam Troxel, the second leading scorer on this team. He's guarded by Kyle Natuska. You see Natuska with the longer sticks. Some of the defensemen and midfielders will have longer sticks, and that allows them to put a little bit more pressure on.
Tackmen, you generally have the smallest sticks to be able to control the ball easiest.
Troxel outside, the shot buggy whip, but dropped that time by Max Middlebrook, but now a shot and a goal as Middlebrook picked it back up and put it in. The sophomore with his 5th goal of the year, And South Bend gets on the board 1-0. You'll get another look on the Adams High replay.
Well, take a look at this recovery here from Middlebrook. You know, he couldn't handle it, then he gets it, recovers, and maybe threw off the Penn defense there and got the underneath shot for the first goal. And now here comes the situation. You go for the face-off. You have the opportunity to do the make-it-take-it situation, make it like half-court basketball, and this is what the Bears' specialty is. They really do a great job in the face-off situation for Ethan Breiler.
Breiler has been winning 68% of his face-offs this year, and he gets this one away from Clay Pica. Ground ball loose, but it's controlled by South Bend. Teddy Skenzel trying to work his way through the midfield box and does into the attacking zone.
You can see him with that long stick as well. They do a lot of that running.
Skenzel will take a break now as he gives it off to Aaron Grable. Grable, a senior, the goalie on the hockey team for John Adams. But this South Bend team combines quite a few high schools. In fact, there's 7 of them involved on this South Bend squad, ranging all the way from Elkhart Christian to New Prairie.
Mostly Adams, but 1 or 2 guys from each of the other 6 schools.
Grable in the corner, gets it behind the cage. They were trying to set up Middlebrooks again. He's got it up top. That's the dangerous Ethan Breiler retreating to the corner.
I like the patience here from the Bears here. We talked about Penn being patient when they have it on offense. They haven't had the ball on offense at all. And you can see the patience here from the Bears, just making sure that they get the shot they want.
Breiler turns the corner. Underhand shot goes out of bounds, but the Bears are closest.
Better yet, Ivy Tech. These programs can be free or low cost depending on a student's chosen path. Start exploring Ivy Tech's high school opportunities to find out that's what's right for you. Find out more at facebook.com/IvyTechSBE.
Breiler trying to set up the play for South Bend. Middlebrook with the game's lone goal so far. We've played almost 3 minutes here in the first. Stop and go move by Middlebrook, hawked by Brooks Clark. Now Graybill has it knocked away by Natusko. The ball's still loose, and the Bears will retrieve it, but out at midfield.
Almost didn't. Good. We talk about that physicality from Natusko showing it there, and the ground ball ultimately coming down to the Bears.
Troxel still has it in the cage. Sometimes it'll get stuck in the pocket a little bit. Breiler carries it one-handed.
Time of possession, all Bears here so far.
Penn is yet to have the ball past midfield. And South Bend just taking its own sweet time here.
Nearly 4 minutes in. 1-0 Bears, and they've had possession the entire way.
Again, it's Ben Nevela behind the cage. Outside to Aaron Grable. Now here's Troxel. Natusko guards him. Troxel trying to set up a shot. Now Natusko gets a little physical and they knock it away. Blake Basil with the knockaway, but they cannot control it. Here's Breiler coming around, shooting wide, but again, South Bend closest, so they'll retain possession.
Well, South Bend doing a great job getting those 50-50 ground balls. The ground ball is one of the most important aspects of the game, along with the face-offs and obviously scoring the goals themselves. But if you can get those ground balls, you retain the possession of the ball, and that's what South Bend has done so far.
Flag here, and that's going to be a penalty against Penn. It's going to be a hold, a technical foul called on Nolan Murphy. So 30 seconds, and South Bend will have a man advantage here.
And here's the replay brought to you by John Adams. And John Adams High School is an A-rated school by the Indiana Department of Education, and recently was named the only school in the state of Indiana with a majority minority student population to earn a top 70 state ranking by U.S. News. Adams is extremely proud of its rich athletic and academic traditions for the past 80 years. Visit adams.sb.school for more information.
So the equivalent of a hockey power play, a man advantage here for the South Bend Bears. They were perfect in these situations against Leo on Saturday. Troxel up top. Now finds Breiler, the right-handed whip, hits a player in the back, and then shot then is blocked by Aiden Deal. They find a man in the middle, and a great stop by Lataro, who comes up with the save.
That was a huge save by Lataro, because now Penn finally having their opportunity for their first possession. Although they're going to have to get this clear out, and they're going to struggle on that clear. And it looks like the Bears will get the ball back. So South Bend, let's look at the replay here, brought to you by John Adams High School.
And back to live action. The shot just goes wide by Aaron Graybill. But again, South Bend closest. But what a stop by Lataro there to keep this a 1-0 game.
We're back to full strength.
Basil comes running in from the penalty area. Here's a pass attempted to the middle. Lataro almost came out of the cage. Now he's got to stop it, and he does.
Wow, that was a beautiful
and
save.
scoops up the ground ball. Lataro playing a tremendous first quarter here to keep Penn in it.
That looked like that was a wide open net, and he came out of nowhere on the backside to make the stop.
Neville had a chance and couldn't cash it in, and here comes Penn with its first attempt of the game. Grant Mallory comes down and finds Tommy Paulus, their leading scorer on the year. The lefty fires low, but it's stopped by Zabukovic.
The attackmen for Penn are well rested. As are the defenders for South Bend, for that matter.
Nolan Streffling out top. Now finds Brooks Clark. Clark, the second leading scorer on this Penn squad. Carson Bay's in there as well. He finds a slot in the middle. Clark looking, finds an open man. The attack goes behind the cage to Henderson. Henderson, Paulus couldn't handle it. He was thinking about the shot before he pulled the trigger.
That's okay, though, in the situation of being able to recover at the very least, and retain possession is the key.
Paulus stutter steps, comes in left side, fires low and wide. Penn will get it back when we come back. 5:06 to go in the first. 1-0 Bears on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week brought to you by Ivy Tech South Bend Elkhart, a cornerstone of education in Indiana. 1-0 South Bend here on 46, but Penn with the ball. Brooks Clark looking to work. Goes down low. Oh, it was mishandled that time by Streffling, and Zabukovic scoops it up for the South Bend Bears. Zabukovic looking for someone to clear it to. And he'll lob it down the field. Nice catch down there by his teammate Middlebrook.
Zabukovic has good hands. After all, he just became a goalie this year, so he knows how to pass the ball downfield, and you show that as evidence there, flipping the field.
You'll meet him at halftime, one of our Tony Letcher Health Market Student Athletes of the Week. Ethan Breiler looks to set it up from about the 37. Remember, the goals are 10 yards in on the field here at School Field. Nice move by Breiler. South Bend working it around quickly. Here's Troxel. Good defense here by Penn, and they force an errant pass that'll finally be tracked down by Breiler just before it goes out of bounds.
South Bend has certainly dominated the possession in this game so far. However, on the scoreboard, they're only up 1-0, so they have not been able to take advantage much of that opportunity so far here in the early goings of this first half.
And Penn was able to force a couple of quick shots when they did get possession. But this patient South Bend attack here working its way. Middlebrook, the sophomore, goes behind the net to Neville. Now Troxel. And you see South Bend starting to rotate some people around, trying to get a little action moving inside near the crease. But this Penn defense keeping them at bay well. Breiler tried to get a step-on deal, didn't happen in the pass too far for Neville.
Able to scoop up that ground ball, though, and keep possession going here.
Now it's Graybill over to Neville. 2.5 left in the first quarter. You see the clock bottom right-hand corner of our 46 scoreboard. South Bend, I think, used to playing at a different pace than what Penn is allowing them to play at tonight. Penn forces the turnover. Brooks Clark with some nice stick work there. Clark avoids the check, The Bears try to ride him, but Clark taking it up the field, and he'll take it all the way into the attack zone. Finds Tommy Paulus, left-hand buggy whip, stopped by Zabukovic.
I don't know if I'm more impressed by that possession or Chuck Freeby's call the action in his first ever lacrosse play-by-play duties.
Far pass by the Bears, and Penn will get it back.
Martin Supermarkets groceries to go. Annual subscriptions are now available just $29.99 for the year. Get ad pricing, digital coupons, recipes directly from your account. Learn more at martinsgroceriestogo.com.
You saw Peter Gillen on the sideline, the Penn head coach, former Notre Dame lacrosse player. In fact, he led the Irish in ground balls in 1990. He watches his team throw it away right there. By the way, our first quarter being brought to us by our friends at Hardware Plus. Whistle and a violation called against the Bears. And Penn will get it back.
We'll see now if Penn tries to be a little bit more patient. Well, there goes that theory because they lose possession and Breiler takes over.
Caden Donzie had it taken away right there at midfield. Troxel almost took the shot from the left side. Instead goes right and scores. Sam Troxel. Or was that Ethan Breiler? It's Breiler who puts it in, and Breiler scores his 26th of the year. You'll get another look from John Adams High School on the replay as Breiler went around the cage and then put it down out low on Lataro.
He went the length of the, not the length of the field, but the length of the half of the field, as far as he's allowed to go in his position, going the whole 50 yards around, looped around, and made a nice shot, and why he's the third leading scorer in the state right there.
Anj talks about him being the third leading scorer in the state, and as we check the Indiana High School lacrosse scoring leaders right here after the faceoff. A faceoff that is won by Penn and Clay Pica. And Penn in a hurry puts it in. Dean Henderson. And great passing that time by the Kingsmen. Some of the sharpest passing we've seen in the game so far. And Henderson, the junior attack man, gets his third goal of the season. You get another look on the Adams replay. Pretty feed set up by Carson Biggs.
Well, some of the best opportunities in the sport of lacrosse come off of faceoffs won. You saw there, they had the advantage. Pica took it down, they set it up, and then Henderson finishes it off.
But you take a look at the scoring leaders in Indiana, and we will here in a little bit. There you see Ethan Breiler's numbers. Breiler helping give the Bears the cushion before Henderson narrowed the gap to 1.
South Bend wins that faceoff. They get the possession back.
Teddy Skenzel tossed it over to Graybill. Now Skenzel will come out and Neville will come back in. In the meantime, Lataro scoops up the loose change around the net. And Lataro sends it down, and a nice catch that time by Mallory. Almost made. Now they battle for the ground ball. Mallory knocked down that time, and Grable will come up with it for South Bend.
South Bend doing an excellent job of winning the ground ball so far here tonight.
Here's Skenzel. Teddy Skenzel races in, fires. Lataro makes the stop.
Well, we are seeing evidence of why Lataro is going to play at Western Michigan next season.
Just a few seconds to go here in the first quarter. An interception made by South Bend. See if the Bears can fire off one last salvo. Nope, they don't get it off. Time expires here in the first quarter. We promised you excitement here on 46. We've had it so far with some nice scoring. Max Middlebrook and Ethan Breiler score goals for the Bears, but Dean Henderson with a rocket right there. 2-1 South Bend after 1 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by Bill's Heating, keeping families and businesses comfortable since 1951. They sponsor our sideline reports, but with Mr. Hunt gone, Anj pressed into double duty tonight. Your thoughts on that first quarter?
Well, I think obviously South Bend had possession for most of the first quarter. You have to give a lot of credit to that Penn defense. They were able just to hold steady, right? They did not allow clean shots most of the time, and they were able to maintain, and then ultimately in the end, despite that possession difference, they're only down by 1 goal, and they got that big goal winning that faceoff. They got to win more of those faceoffs. That's going to be key here moving forward. The Penn Boosters root for the Kingsmen's success in this game and all season, supporting all Penn extracurricular activities. For a $10 donation, you too can show your Penn spirit. Last year, Penn Boosters awarded over $59,000 for academic clubs and teams. Follow them on Facebook or go to pennboosters.org.
And our second quarter brought to us by the Penn Boosters. We would be remiss if we did not say congratulations to our mutual friend Al Rhodes on his retirement. 693 career wins for the Penn boys basketball coach. Calls it a career after 42 seasons overall, the last 15 of them spent with the Kingsmen. And as we record this on Wednesday night, we don't know, but I'm going to say he also brought them their first Mr. Basketball in Marcus Burke.
Let's hope, at least, right? That would be a shame if that is not the case. But and Al Rhodes, one of the nicest human beings you're going to meet as well. And he's done such a great job in every aspect. And great that he was able to finish his career at his alma mater there for Penn.
Meanwhile, the pace of this game, even though it was dominated possession-wise, as you said, Angelo, by South Bend, Penn has the score where they want it because defense wins for the Kingsmen. They're 2-0 when they hold teams below 10 goals, 0-3 when they don't. And it doesn't take a math major to figure out we're under a pace for 10 goals.
Yes, even if you're not familiar with the sport of lacrosse, you know we're saying quarters. So thus, there will only be 4 of them. So they would be on pace right now for the Bears to get to 8. And Penn is doing a good job of that. But again, they got to get the goals as well. And that's something that has been an area that needs improvement for the Kingsmen. And they're hoping to get some more opportunities in that aspect here in the second quarter.
12-minute quarters here in high school. Each team allowed 2 timeouts per half, although neither team used one there in the first quarter. And Penn begins the second quarter in possession with Tommy Paulus starting the charge from midfield. Kingsmen work it around. Henderson to Brooks Clark. Clark threw it in the middle, but it gets awry, and Zabukovic will pick it up.
One thing that's been interesting, I expected Penn to be the team that was going to be more patient on offense than South Bend, and it's been reversed so far.
Penn has been trying to take some quick opportunities. Skensel has the ball pop loose, but right into the stick of Sam Troxel. Troxel, member of the tennis team at Adams, had 6 goals in their win over Chesterton last week. And he'll work it around behind the cage. Middlebrook handles the one-hopper. Troxel being hawked by Sean Collar on defense. And now Kyle Natusko tries to give him a little whack with the stick to poke it loose.
Those are 2 guys I do not want to double teaming me.
And Natusko was able to pry it away.
We've known Kyle since he was a little kid. He's never been exactly little, and you see that right now. A great young man, worked with his dad, Russ, many years at WNDU.
Terrific photojournalist. Here's a shot stopped by Zabukovic. He can't scoop it up, though, and Henderson gets back the rebound. Brooks Clark outside at the 30. Now we'll see if Penn can run a set play here. I think one of the reasons they've wanted to go in transition is they're a better transition team than they are running what basketball fans would call a half-court offense.
Well, they did say they want to get that transition going from defense to offense, and that's certainly in play here. And now Paul is trying to get inside, but good defense here from the Bears early
he
on.
had a nice look for Henderson, but Henderson couldn't scoop it up, and then he got in the crease.
Primary Care Partners of South Bend offers high-quality medical care of people of all ages. They're here to focus on you, and they're committed to take the time needed to understand your medical needs. Conveniently located in downtown South Bend, near Howard Park. And we've got a goal. With easy parking access, they offer early morning and Saturday hours.
Nolan Streffling used the long stick to generate some power and whip it past Patrick Lataro, as you'll see here on the Adams replay. For Streffling, the senior, his first goal of the season.
Just when I thought I had the time to be able to get a sponsor read in, he says, not so quick, my friends.
So a big goal for the Bears puts them up 3-1 here, early second quarter. And now a key face-off for Penn. The one face-off that Pica was able to win earlier, they were able to convert into a goal.
South Bend has won the face-offs 3-1 so far here in this game.
We mentioned earlier, Breiler, one of the better face-off men, but Pica giving him a battle here. It's still loose, and it looks like Penn will have it, and they do.
Not for long.
Oh, man. And there's a whistle, and the flag is thrown from halfway across the field.
I think everyone here at School Field heard that one. And here's the John Adams replay coming up here on this penalty.
This is a pretty blatant cross-check.
However, are we seeing a man go? They're still deciding here whether or not they're going to put someone in the box or not.
It looked like it was Max Middlebrook on the cross-check. And I guess the question here would be, is it 1 minute, 2 minute, and is it a non-release penalty? There are penalties that are non-release, and what you'll see on that is even if a goal is scored, the man can't come out of the penalty box, and now they wave off the flag.
Then there's that situation as well.
Wow, so Middlebrook coming back on. And one would have thought that Adams would have had control of the ball, but they give the ball back to Penn.
Well, I think they still call, maybe they didn't call it the, they still gave the possession to Penn off the initial cross-check.
So the Kingsmen move it around on the outside. That's Dean Henderson behind the cage.
Penn doing a better job in terms of having possession here in the second quarter as opposed to the first.
Tommy
certainly.
Paulus looking for Dom Jennings. First time we've called Dom's name tonight, the senior. On the far side, Penn will try to set it up. Looks like Carson Bays finds Clark, right-hand shot, it's good.
That was a great pass. And then Clark just wasted no time firing it in there.
You get another look on the Adams replay at Brooks Clark's 8th goal of the year. He had 2 of these against Carroll. And watch Clark come down and just beat Zabukovic top shelf.
Clover Machinery Movers is proud to support Kingsmen Athletics for over 65 years. Clover Machinery Movers has been providing professional and reliable machinery moving. When you need your project done right, on time, and on budget, contact the experts at Clover Machinery Movers.
By the way, all the goals tonight for the South Bend Bears sponsored by our friends at Primary Care Partners of South Bend. 8:44 to go in the first half. Penn has cut the lead to 3-2. Loose ball out there, and the Kingsmen almost had it, but it's knocked away. Still loose. Look at this little scrum, and it's finally picked up by Jennings. Dom Jennings gets it for the Kingsmen, and a flag is thrown. So Penn will be able to take advantage of a extra man here, and they continue to have the ball until it's touched by a South Bend Bear. Cam Stuckey on the field now. He wears number 5. He's out there with Caden Donzie.
Big opportunity here for Penn to try to tie the score up here on a man-up situation.
Kingsman going to work. They get it out to Bays.
And there's absolutely no reason to rush here for Penn when you have the extra guy out there.
Donzie to Henderson.
Right now, 6 on 5. 6 on 6 if you count the goalie, of course, but that's what 6 on 5 in terms of the defenders.
Jennings now. Here's Stuckey with a nice little move. He's trying to work around David Nagy, and Nagy giving him fits with the lawn stick. Finally, they get it over to Henderson. Henderson in the middle, it's dropped there. South Bend picks it up, and there's the whistle. So it's a slashing penalty on the South Bend Bears. It's going to go against Jake and Stewart. And that will officially give Penn the man advantage. But the reason you take a lot of your big names like Paulus off the field in that situation is you keep them fresh for this EMO opportunity.
Look at you.
EMO standing for extra man on.
And now the man up officially beginning. But you see, they didn't rush when they had that extra opportunity there, and they're not going to rush here, I wouldn't think either. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
South Bend was perfect in penalty kills last week, and they get a steal here from David Nagy. Nagy will race across midfield. A flag is thrown. This is going to be against Penn out of frustration. Ball knocked loose by Brooks Clark. He picks it up, and there's the whistle, and we'll see what the violation was against the Kingsmen. It's a hold on Penn. I think it'll be on Dom Jennings.
Might have been on Tommy Paulus. He headed over to the penalty box.
Okay. It's a 30-second technical.
You were right.
So it remains 3-2, but it's now South Bend with the EMO. And let's see if the Bears can convert here. Breiler to the middle, Brook, and he's thwarted by Lataro.
We're actually we're not full strength. We're 5-on-5 right now.
That's right, because South Bend was down a man. Ground ball here. Scrum ensues, and it goes out of bounds. The official isn't sure who to give it to.
Penn ball.
Break for the Kingsmen.
Hardware Plus is a proud supporter of high school sports and has been Osceola's favorite local hardware store for nearly a century, featuring a wide selection of products and customer service experts. Hardware Plus, where service begins with the words, "How can I help?" and a handshake.
Penn throws it away in its own zone, so South Bend will get it back. And let's see what the Bears can make of it here.
Both teams now back at full strength.
Breiler retreats to his corner. Collar follows him there. Now Natusco guarding Breiler. Just trying to annoy him with that long stick. Breiler makes his move. Finds his buddy Troxel up top. Troxel being harassed. Nice job there by Josh Hickey. Nevela now gets it over to Breiler. Middlebrook. Good possession here by South Bend, but it doesn't mean a lot unless you can convert it into points.
Well, this is going back to what we saw a lot in that first quarter in terms of Penn's defense preventing some good shot opportunities, but South Bend doing a good job of being patient at the very least.
Ball loose. Breiler tried to save it, and he does. We'll take a break. 4:55 to go. First half. 3-2 in favor of the Bears on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by the Warren Golf Course, located at Notre Dame, the top collegiate course in the country. We come back. It's 3-2 South Bend. 4.5 to go. First half. Penn in possession with the ball with Brooks Clark going into the offensive zone. Clark doing a good job to keep possession there as he fell down. Now Penn wants to switch up its offensive personnel, and they get Paulus back on the field, along with Joey DePalma.
Midway through the second quarter here.
It's Clark, who scored a goal a little bit ago. On the move, Clark fires. Clark scores.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. Zabukovic somehow came up with that. The way Zabukovic reacted.
You thought he didn't have it. So cool, calm, and collected.
Now Nevela fires, and Lataro gets the save.
I almost wonder if he's making it seem like it went in so that he could switch the field as quickly as he did.
And let's take a look at this nifty save by Zabukovic on the Adams replay. You see the shot by Clark,
That's a great save.
and Zabukovic was able to come up with it and then just stands there as though he was defeated, but not. If the goal was to fool Mr. Freeby, they succeeded.
Well, they fooled me a few times, so about time they fooled you here.
In the meantime, the Bears with possession at around the 40-yard line. Troxel on the move. Neville behind the net to Middlebrook, who scored the first goal of the night. Max Middlebrook looking to fire here. The South Bend team ranked #1 among club teams. Now, a club team in Indiana merely means that you are a combination team of schools. It doesn't give you any lesser status than a 2A or 1A team. Here's a shot taken by Breiler, and it hit the post going past Lataro. You see the stick extended there because you want to be the closest one to it going out of bounds.
Take a look at the replay on the John Adams High School replay. Good opportunity here for Breiler, and then a great save there by the Kingsmen.
Lataro has been dandy between the pipes tonight. Here's a loose ball, still on the ground. The battle ensues, and finally, South Bend able to scoop it up. Breiler has it. The ground balls have been dominated by South Bend as well. Here's a shot that goes wide, and now the race for the ball, and Penn will get it. Good hustle by Paulus.
Here at Precision, garage doors are all we do. We can fix your broken garage door the same day or install a new one tomorrow. Visit us online for more information at precisiondoormichiana.com. Precision Garage Door of Michiana. Garage doors done right.
Brooks Clark with it at the 30. Kenneth Najia in the game now. He wears number 16, and the pass comes to him. He can't handle it. Ground ball loose, and it is finally scooped up by no one. And the ball out of bounds. It'll go to Penn.
Gotta love the effort, though, from both sides. They're gonna feel that dive later on this turf.
Najia over to Caden Donzie. We mentioned South Bend is a club team. Penn is a 2A team. That is the largest enrollment class in high school lacrosse. St. Joe was the 1A state champion a year ago, but they have to move up to 2A for lacrosse's version of the success factor.
Nearing halftime here. One more possession perhaps here for the Kingsmen with about 30 seconds to play here. An opportunity to tie it up maybe before we get to the half.
Penn started the year 0-3. They've won their last two, trying to tie this one up before halftime. Bays handles outside. Now it comes to Cam Stuckey. Stuckey with a stop-and-go move. Lost possession, had it knocked away, and the Bears have it. In transition with 10 seconds left. Bears on the run. Here comes Favorite. William Favorite shoots. It comes into the crease, scooped up by Lataro. He'll throw it out of there, and that's the way the first half will end at TCU School Field. So a defensive pace to this one. Penn has succeeded in keeping a high-powered South Bend Bears offense in check most of the time, but that goal fired in by Jake and Stewart. The difference right now, because the Bears lead it at the half, 3-2. Our Tony Letcher Health Market Student Athletes of the Week are next on 46.
Back here at halftime in our high school game of the week here on TV 46. I'm Angel DiCarlo. Time now for our Student Athlete of the Week, presented by Tony Letcher of Health Markets. And we have the captains from both the South Bend Bears and the Penn Kingsmen here with us here for the Student Athletes of the Week. Saul Zabukovic and Clay Pika. We'll start with Clay. Clay, 3.84 GPA for yourself. You're an Eagle Scout. You're captain on the hockey team, captain of the lacrosse team. How do you balance it all?
I just kind of do it, to be honest. Not much goes into thinking about it. It's pretty, self-explanatory.
You're a Eagle Scout, as I mentioned. What do you enjoy about that growing up? I imagine, obviously, that's been a big part of your life.
Yeah, so I have 2 other brothers that are Eagle Scouts as well, so there's 3 of us. My sister's a Girl Scout, and I've really grown up around the tradition, and I love camping, and I still camp every single summer and make sure to get a couple times out in the forest. So,
You're a senior. What does the future hold for you?
college, hopefully a good job.
Going down to IU, but a couple different options of what you're going to study. Tell us about that a little bit and maybe why, what you ultimately feel like you might end up doing.
Originally optometry, I'm still thinking about it, but as like a marketing class, I've been thinking about marketing as well, so we'll see where I end up.
Who do you want to give some shout outs to?
Mr. Barris, great teacher. All my friends, my parents, my brothers and sisters.
All right, Clay, thank you very much. Sal, you have lacrosse in your genes, but certainly a big night for the South Bend Bears, defending state champions. And, you know, you have a 4.1 GPA over at Adams High School. How do you balance it all?
I put school first, and then whenever I get on the field, I just don't think about school, and then all my focus is on lacrosse.
You've transitioned to being a goalie. What's that experience been like for you here?
It's definitely got some excitement to it. You get a rubber ball shot at you pretty fast, but I'm enjoying it. I'm doing pretty well, I think. So.
I know you volunteer at the Center for the Homeless. Why do you do that, and how rewarding is that experience for you?
I just like seeing my skills being put to use in the community, and volunteering there, I see a lot of happy faces, and it just makes me happy as well.
What does the future hold for you? I know you have, you're just a junior, so you got time, but what are some of the interests you're looking at for college?
I don't know where yet, but I think I'm going to do something in sports medicine or physical therapy.
All right, physical therapy. I mean, I guess it's going to help that you're in goal. You'll know what it takes to handle that pain threshold. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
My parents, my brother, and Mr. Bart, my math teacher.
All right. Saul Zabukovic, Clay Pika, come on in here, guys. Don't be afraid of me so much. I know you guys will be competitors here in a moment, but they are our Student Athletes of the Week presented by Tony Letcher of Health Markets. We are back with more of the 46 Game of the Week after this. We've got halftime highlights, second half action. Back after this on 46.
This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Basney Honda, your #1 Honda dealer for over 35 years. School Field has seen some great defense here in the first half. 3-2, the South Bend Bears lead the Penn Kingsmen at the intermission. Welcome inside the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth, everybody. Chuck and Anj high above the fray. We expected one team to set the tempo with their offense and their electricity. Well, the team that set the tempo was more of South Bend, but they're suffering from that tempo, it would seem.
Well, or is it Penn setting the tempo in terms of the fact that their defense is preventing South Bend from getting quality shot opportunities? And Penn has also done a good job in the faceoffs. That's maybe something we thought South Bend would take a bigger advantage of, but so far Penn has been about even in that area, and that has allowed what was once an advantage for South Bend early on in terms of time of possession to decrease in that second quarter. And here you are, Penn. You're within one goal against the defending state champions. Looking good so far for the Kingsmen.
Let's show you how it got to be this way here at School Field, because South Bend got on the board in the very first 3 minutes. Max Middlebrook was able to fire it in, and then Ethan Breiler wrapped right around the cage and beat Patrick Lataro right there and made it 2-0 South Bend. But the next face-off, Clay Pika wins it. Eventually, it's to Dean Henderson on the doorstep for the goal. 2-1, it was that way after one. Then in the second period, Jakin Stewart with the long stick fires it past Lataro for the goal. 3-1 South Bend. But back comes Brooks Clark and the Kingsmen, and Clark will tuck it in top shelf here. 3-2 at the intermission. And you mentioned the fact that the face-offs are a little more even. The ground balls have certainly been dominated by South Bend. I think Pete Gillen's got to be happy right now. What do you think Kane Hoy is telling his team here at halftime?
He probably wants them to pick up the tempo, maybe take a little bit more opportunities in terms of the shots. You know, maybe challenge Penn a little bit more on those chances that they have inside, rather than being as patient as they have been. Sometimes they're maybe too patient. It could be the one thing that they're looking at here heading into the second half.
So 3-2 Bears at the intermission. We're back with second half play-by-play from School Field in South Bend after this on 46. edition of the 46th Game of the Week brought to you by the Purdue Northwest College of Nursing. Kickstart your career with a nursing degree.
Hometown Pharmacy in Mishawaka is the best place to go for your pharmaceutical needs. Call to schedule your hormone replacement therapy today. Hometown is proud to support today's teams.
Saw a nice crowd here. We'll hopefully have a nice crowd at Petco Field next week for high school softball. A couple of the better teams in the Northern Lakes Conference go head-to-head as Northridge pays a visit to Brian Miller's Mishawaka Cavemen. We'll have that for you, maybe even on a live stream Friday, but certainly Friday night at 11, Saturday morning at 9 on your home for high school sports, TV 46.
Ivy Tech's dual credit and dual enrollment programs let students begin earning college credit while still in high school. High school students can earn a certificate to head straight into a high-wage, high-demand career immediately after graduation.
So we talked about this a little bit in the first half, but South Bend really had a good season in lacrosse last year. St. Joe won the 1A championship, had to move up to 2A this year, and the South Bend Bears took the club state title. And as we explained to you, that club only means that there are multiple schools involved with the team. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the 1A and the 2A are varsity level, and these guys are just schleps, because I think what you've seen in the first half shows there's some skill involved out here.
Well, and here's the bottom line for South Bend. They don't play like a team that's represented by 7 different schools. They're a well-oiled machine out here, and kudos to the whole program for being able to bring a collection of players from 7 different schools and play so well.
Kane Hoy has done a great job with that in his second year as the head coach. He's a Mishawaka and Bethel alum who played for these South Bend Bears. And, you know, one of the things that he talked about with us, Anj, is the fact that he's just so proud of the development of this program, particularly over the last 6 or 7 years, to see it go from him being a player on the team to him being the coach. So let's hear what Kane had to say about that before the game.
Yeah, man, I take so much pride in this team, seeing it grow from when I was a player to having 10, 11 games now to having 18 to 20 games and being able to compete for a championship game. I think that's just so exciting and so humbling as a player, now coach, to see the growth over the program. And it just makes me so happy to see how much it's changed over the past 7, 8 years.
It really has exploded in this area, particularly in the last 5 years, as our third quarter, sponsored by Clover Machinery Movers, gets underway. Face-off controlled by the Penn Kingsmen. Brooks Clark with it for Penn. So another time where Penn is able to get a face-off away from South Bend. That had been a big strength of South Bend coming in.
3-3 on face-offs now here in the game for these two teams. I think we definitely thought coming into the game, South Bend with Ethan Breiler, we're going to have the distinct advantage, but Pika's doing a good job there.
Joey DePalma handles it up top for Penn, and there's Brooks Clark with one of the goals tonight. Paulus has not been on the scoreboard tonight, but he's been a factor for them offensively.
This game's health tip is brought to you by Health Link. Healthy kids are better students and better athletes. Schedule an annual wellness check at Health Link today. Health Link offers medical, dental, vision, and more. Dean
Henderson behind the net. Gets the scoop on it. Breiler, though, knocks it away and gets it for the Bears. Zabukovic waits for people to clear. They have 20 seconds to get it out of the defensive zone, so they've got plenty of time. Boy, Zabukovic took it a long way out and finally got it to Max Middlebrook.
Only a goalie starting this year, so maybe he just thought he wanted to get his action in.
Middlebrook on the attack for the Bears. And DePalma took a good whack at it on the stick check. Here's Ethan Breiler. He has 1 goal tonight. And Breiler trying to direct traffic. Clark will harass him. Breiler gets around Clark.
Nice move.
Breiler fires wide, but there's plenty of Bears over that way to retrieve it.
Breiler wears number 5 in honor of his cousin Jack Savage. Meanwhile, for Penn, Nolan Striffling wears 25 in honor of their cousin Nick Savage. Of course, Nick and Jack Savage, the two brothers from Penn who unfortunately lost their lives in that opioid issue a few years back, but that 525 Foundation represented here in Lacrosse by their two cousins from two different teams.
And now here come the Kingsmen on offense. Tommy Paulus gives it up to Brooks Clark, and he'll set it up. Paulus, the all-NIC strong safety, gets it over to Carson Bays, the freshman. Bays, a member of the Team Indiana 16 and under squad. He might be the best pure attacker on this team despite his age. He makes a little juke there, but fired high. Goes into the soccer net, but it'll go to Penn.
A-rated John Adams High School is home to a diverse student body of more than 1,950 students. Adams students have the opportunity to participate in various programs. The graduating class of 2022 saw students attend more than 65 unique universities. Congratulations and go Eagles.
Paulus bobbling it, but still has it in control. He was being hawked out there by David Nagy. Now Brooks Clark. Clark going to work on Brody Damrell. Shot and a goal. It was Bays, the freshman. Carson Bays ties it up at 3 with his 4th goal of the season. We talked about him being a good pure attacker. You'll see why here on the Adams replay.
Just beautiful hop shot right there for Carson Bays. And we're tied at 3 now, and here come the Kingsmen playing a great game, patience the whole way through, and now they're tied at 3, an opportunity here. Big face-off coming up here to get possession here between either Breiler or Pico.
Remember, Penn won this game by 1 a year ago, 6-5. They've tied it up at 3 here early in the 3rd quarter.
And this is probably reminiscent of that in terms of being low scoring here at 3-3 early in the 3rd. And how about this?
Pico with another draw. But it's knocked away and stolen away by the Bears.
Bears won the first 2 face-offs. Penn has won 4 of the last 5.
Good long stick play by the Bears, and they get it across to Sam Troxel in the offensive zone. Now Breiler takes a shot. It goes wide. Bears are closest.
Primary Care Partners of South Bend is here to help with your medical needs, and they're committed to listening to you and making sure you feel cared for in the process. They have specialties that include family medicine, pediatric care, and 2 family nurse practitioners. Learn more at primarycaresb.com.
And Primary Care sponsoring our South Bend Bears goals tonight. Thanks to Dr. Brandon Zabukovic with all of his help in tonight's broadcast. Troxel's shot is blocked up top. And the ball goes out of bounds. It'll go to Penn. Good defense by Josh Hickey that time. Kingsman on the run. Grant Mallory, the kicker on the football team, has his pass knocked away. Battle ensues. Still going on. And it looks like Mallory will get it back for Penn.
Well, we talked about in the first half, South Bend winning a lot of the ground balls, and there's a key one for Penn here early in the second half to retain possession.
Caden Donzie will cradle it up top. 7:20 to go, 3rd quarter. Cam Stuckey comes on the field now for the Kingsmen. Stuckey drops the pass, but nobody around. Stuckey down the far side. We've got a flag against South Bend. And so Penn can take advantage here. Jennings trying to work his way around, shoots it across. It gets scooped up. And now Donzie will control it.
Still 6-on-6 on the field. No one had to run off because of that penalty flag.
Najia fires, stopped by Zabukovic. Najia gets it back. He gets tripped up in the behind the cage, and there's the whistle after the flag had been thrown. It's an interference technical on Ethan Breiler. He'll come off for 30 seconds, and Penn will get 30 seconds to try to take the lead.
And they'll need Zabukovic here to come up big in the goal on the man-up advantage for Penn. One thing we have not mentioned, Zabukovic kind of been in the shadow maybe of his big brother Ezra, who's now playing Division I lacrosse at Vermont. Making a name for himself now in the net is Saul, the younger brother. But Ezra, one of only 2 area players that are Division I players, along with Andrew Machika from Marion and Culver Academies, and Andrew playing at Rutgers. And after that, in terms of history, unless you're related to a Notre Dame coach, probably haven't had too many guys that have played Division I lacrosse.
Will Corrigan, probably the best known name, and of course his dad, Kevin, the head lacrosse coach for the Irish, who are having a spectacular year, ranked #1 after that win over Duke about a week and a half ago.
And Will himself now rising in the ranks as a coach himself.
Clark to Paulus, he fanned on the pass. Paulus trying to scoop it up and does.
Penn has just gotten a little bit better in each major category, face-offs, ground balls, as the game has progressed.
And really, that's how Pete Gillen has described their season, too. Just getting a little bit better as each game goes along. Clark finds Paulus. The southpaw bounces it wide. Jennings is the closest, so Penn will get it back.
Better yet, at Ivy Tech, these programs can be free or low cost depending on a student's chosen path. Start exploring Ivy Tech's high school opportunities to find out one that's right for you. Find out more at facebook.com/IvyTechSBE.
Don Jennings was hoping there'd be a cutter. He wasn't there, and the Bears are closest. Good hustle by David Nagy. But the battle goes on, and Penn couldn't scoop it away from the Bears. Here comes Ethan Breiler, racing with one hand into the attack zone. Back outside to Troxel. South Bend trying to regain the lead in a 3-3 game here midway through the third.
Feels like it's been a while since South Bend has gotten that third goal. Penn's defense is really locked down.
Middlebrook shoved outside. Now Troxel. You see the physicality of the Kingsmen on defense, maybe wearing South Bend down a little bit here tonight.
We talked about that from the get-go in our open about Penn being big and strong on the defensive end, and you're right, that has definitely happened and showed itself throughout, especially here in the second half.
Aiden Deal trying to work over Ben Nevela. The diminutive freshman puts on some moves to get away, but it was nothing anywhere near the net. Middlebrook with a cut.
Nice
Fires
pass.
across. Shot high and wide. We'll take a break. 4 minutes to go. Third quarter. Tied at 3 on 46. And this edition from the 46 Game of the Week brought to you by Hometown Pharmacy. Freedom to make life better. Ethan Breiler fires off the crossbar. It did not go in.
I'm not sure you can get any closer than that one.
Blake Basil comes the other way for Penn. Basil finds Bays. Bays up top. Nobody home. Jennings will scoop it up. We've got a whistle and a push in the back against the Bears. And Max Middlebrook will have to come off after the push.
See it there on the John Adams replay.
So an extra man opportunity here for Penn.
Neither team has been successful on the EMOs so far here tonight.
3:20 to go, third quarter. Paulus comes racing in. Tried to shoot, it was blocked outside. Jennings will get there first.
Martin Supermarket's Groceries to Go annual subscriptions are now available, just $29.99 for the year. Get ad pricing, digital coupons, recipes directly from your account. Learn more at martinsgroceriestogo.com.
Brooks Clark, the sophomore, has a high lacrosse IQ, tries to use it here, and he does. Puts the ground ball in past Zabukovic, and the Kingsmen grab the lead, 4-3.
Second goal of the game for Brooks Clark, and look at the effort here. And the first goal from either team on the EMO, the extra man advantage.
So a 4-3 Penn lead, their first lead of the night. And now we'll see how South Bend tries to respond here. Kane Hoy's team, only losses have been to St. Joe and Crown Point, and those were early in the year. really before they got most of their hockey players back.
And here comes the situation where Penn has really taken advantage of. They've won 4 of the last 5 faceoffs. We'll see what happens here between Breiler and Pika.
Pika worked his tail off on faceoffs the other day at practice, and it has shown. He's driving Breiler nuts right now.
I don't know who you... Well, I guess you're going to give this one to South Bend.
Middlebrook fires. Lataro stopped it but couldn't see it. Fortunately for him, Pika came and scooped it up.
Instincts paid off on that one for Lataro.
Actually, it was Nolan Murphy who got it, and Murphy gets checked to the ground, and here's Breiler. Breiler gets crossed by Deal, and here comes Penn the other way.
Excitement building up here.
Hickey, his pass too high for Jennings, and South Bend will get it back.
You can feel the energy starting to pick up in the crowd and on the field as well right now, with it being 4-3 Penn.
And you can sense South Bend understanding they're going to have to get more physical with this Penn team.
And maybe just take more chances when they're inside the attack zone. They just have not gotten enough shots off. And Zabukovic,
he's really taking a chance. The goalie all the way out to the 40, and a timeout called by South Bend. Timeout with 1:51 to go in the third.
The Penn Boosters root for Kingsmen's success in this game and all season, supporting all Penn extracurricular activities for a $10 donation. You too can show your Penn spirit. Last year, Penn Boosters awarded over $59,000 for academic clubs and teams. Follow them on Facebook or go to pennboosters.org.
Reminder, Pro Soccer is back on TV 46 on Saturday night. The Monterey Football Club makes the lengthy trip from California to Indianapolis to take on the Indy 11. We've got 17 games of the Indy 11 this season on TV 46, including live Saturday night at 7 on your home for the Indy 11, TV 46.
Clover Machinery Movers is proud to support Kingsmen Athletics for over 65 years. Clover Machinery Movers has been providing professional and reliable machinery moving when you need your project done right, on time, and on budget. Contact the experts at Clover Machinery Movers.
And they sponsor our third quarter. We mentioned earlier in the game, South Bend Bears combining players from 7 different Michiana high schools. That includes Riley, Clay, Trinity, Elkhart Christian, New Prairie, Adams, and I think I'm missing one in there. But anyway, and speaking of Elkhart Christian, I want to apologize to Jake and Stewart. I misidentified him in the first half on the goal that he scored. I gave it to the other team's 25, Nolan Streffling. So, Jakin, my apologies. I know you're not on TV 46 a lot, but there's your goal. We'll replay it.
He enjoyed his halftime highlight. He got it in at halftime. You got it corrected there. And hey, you've done a great job here on play-by-play of lacrosse. First time doing it. By the way, Hardware Plus is proud supporter of high school sports and has been Osceola's favorite local hardware store for nearly a century, featuring a wide selection of products and customer service experts. Hardware Plus, where your service begins with the words, "How can I help?" and a handshake.
I think Kane Hoy may have sensed his team was a little bit gassed there in the third quarter. They're down. They seem out of sync right now, so he calls the timeout to calm them down a little bit.
Well, and with 1:51 left here in the third, you get one big boost here before the end of the period. Then they get another little break before they start the fourth. And as you kind of mentioned in that third quarter, Penn may be wearing them down a bit, and this is a good opportunity to get that reset.
So a 4-3 Kingsman lead here late in the third. And South Bend Bears will have possession. The officials counting to make sure the right number of players are on the field here. And there's the whistle, and the clock begins as Ethan Breiler makes a nice move to get up the field. Breiler with 1 goal tonight. They've kept Sam Troxel quiet. Bly Johnson on the field now. Johnson, one of their top scorers on the year as well. He's got 8 goals. So very attack-oriented on the squad on the field now for the Bears. Good move by Troxel. But again, the size of Penn tends to gum up the middle of the field just a little bit.
Be interesting to see what the Bears do here with 1:10 left in the third, whether or not they're going to take an early shot or maybe try to run this down for the final possession.
Troxel guarded by Natuska. Big Kyle with that long stick has had some nice checks tonight.
He has been a pain for the Bears, to say the least.
Literally and figuratively. Now here's a race inside, and the shot stopped by Lataro.
Now 40 seconds here for Penn.
But the Kingsmen throw it away, and it's scooped up by David Nagy, and South Bend will get another chance to score here before the quarter expires. Damrell on the move, finds Middlebrook. Middlebrook back to Damrell. He gets knocked over by Natusko. Natusko bowls him out of the way, and it's scooped up by Deal.
Natusko lost the helmet and everything. Gotta love it for Kyle.
Here's Nagy trying to scoop it up, knocked away. Donzie gets it ahead. Here comes Penn. Bays on the run. Bays shoots high and too far. And the South Bend Bears see the third quarter come to an end, but it was a good third quarter for the Penn Kingsmen. Despite the emotion of a go-ahead goal from South Bend in the first half, the Kingsmen respond with 2 in the second, and they lead it 4-3 as we go to the fourth on 46. And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by the City of South Bend Golf. One city, 3 amazing courses. Chuck Fraby and Angelo DiCarlo at School Field tonight. 4-3, Penn leading the South Bend Bears after 3. A little bit different game than maybe we expected.
And a way different game than the first quarter. Penn has done an excellent job here of really taking control. It was all South Bend in that first quarter in terms of time possession, but we mentioned it. Hey, they're only up by 1, and they weren't able to take advantage of those opportunities, and now Penn has taken advantage of wearing South Bend down, and that has continued. But we saw that timeout from South Bend late in the third quarter. Now they get another little bit break here. We'll see if that can give them a little bit of energy coming into this final period.
For the Penn Kingsmen, they had lost their first 3 games of the year. Then they beat Carroll and Munster, and they've got a tough week here. They not only play South Bend tonight, they have to turn around on Saturday and play Culver Academy.
Well, so their week just got harder because Culver Academy certainly is always a perennial power in lacrosse throughout the state and the Midwest.
But we had the chance to visit both practices. Both teams were, first of all, very fired up and excited to be on TV 46, and you can understand that. But you could also sense there is a rivalry here. These players know each other. A lot of them might play in different travel lacrosse teams together. And there is a rivalry here between these two programs.
Well, we said there's cousins out on the field playing against each other as well. And you're right. And the lacrosse community is a tight-knit community, so you get to know each other well in that regard as well.
And as you saw from some of our shots, good crowd here. Pika with the face-off win, but Pika lost the ball running in, and South Bend able to knock it away and control the ground ball with Teddy Skenzel. Skenzel races the other way for the Bears and brings it into the attack zone. Skenzel pivots and lost the ball. Tries to scoop it in. Lataro is there with a big net to take it away. Over the head of Pika, but Brooks Clark is able to retrieve it. Battle at midfield, and finally Clark comes away with it. South Bend was trying to tie it up down at its end, but Lataro came up with a big save. He's had a number of them tonight. And now it is Penn who will be patient with the lead.
No need to rush by any means. And here at Precision, garage doors are all we do. We can fix your broken garage door the same day or install a new one tomorrow. Visit online for more information at precisiondoormichiana.com. Precision Garage Door of Michiana. Garage doors done right.
Pass to the far side, now up top for Bays. Paulus works in. And his pass is knocked away, but not quite stolen. Bays was able to come up with it after the deflection by Brody Damrell. Clark now observes the setup.
Well, again, that improvement from Penn throughout the game, as we've discussed for the past few quarters. Ground balls were all South Bend early on, and Penn is doing a good job of recovering in that area and now eating away at the clock here in the final period, up by 1.
They've chewed 2 minutes off the clock here in the 4th.
Hometown Pharmacy in Mishawaka is the best place to go for your pharmaceutical needs. Call to schedule your hormone replacement therapy. Hometown is proud to support today's teams.
Jennings down in the corner. Dom Jennings coming across. Ground ball scooped up that time by Henderson. Henderson had a big goal in this game to get the Kingsmen on the board when they were down 2-0. Clark tries to put a move on Damrell, and Damrell keeps him at bay with the long stick. Paulus drawing a double team almost everywhere he goes. Now Bays tries to move inside. But Penn content to work some clock. Clark to Bays. Henderson was on the doorstep. It's knocked away, and a flag thrown as Zabukovic scoops it up, and I think that's going to go on the Bears.
You can see the frustration from South Bend. They thought they had the stop, and then all of a sudden the penalty comes in, and here's the replay brought to you by John Adams High School. That ball up, and you can't go high. That's the bottom line. Whether or not it's intentional or not, it doesn't matter. If you go high, you're getting a penalty, and that's what happened there.
Breiler called for the cross check at the 8:57 remaining mark in period number 4. And I believe that's going to be a 1-minute penalty.
Penn has taken advantage of an EMO already here tonight. The last goal that gave them the lead 4-3. It's the only time here this evening that anyone has taken advantage of the man-up situation.
Now Paulus works inside, shoots low but wide. It's going to be retrieved as it goes out of bounds to Henderson. Henderson trots in, finds Clark. Clark thought about buggy whipping it. Instead, Bays will toss it to Paulus. Bays fires and scores! Carson Bays with his second goal of the second half. And the freshman has given Penn a 2-goal lead.
Look at this. Wow. Just ripped it.
And the location was terrific because he really caught Zabukovic in a place where he couldn't move his stick up to the top shelf high enough.
Well, and it was in the short side, and Zabukovic was leaving the far side a little bit more open, so you would expect him to go to far side, and he goes on the short side, top shelf, and gets the goal.
Again, that is the raw lacrosse talent of Carson Bays. We talked about him maybe being the best pure attacker on this squad. He's shown it here in the second half twice. And now Penn with a 2-goal lead, but there's a big face-off win by Breiler. Troxel with a spin move.
And now a sense of urgency will have to pick up in a major way here for South Bend. Down 2 goals with just over 8 minutes to play.
They've both been at man advantage goals for the Kingsmen, who have taken advantage of their opportunities tonight. Middlebrook outside. And now Troxel will retreat for the Bears. They have time with 7:50, but they know that opportunities have been limited here in the second half. Nevela, and Natusco looks at him like a piece of meat and came at him and managed to help force a turnover. Here's Mallory, the midfielder racing across.
Fast break now here for Penn.
Kingsman trying to pop this wide open. Zabukovic couldn't make the stop, but it went high.
Penn has been, offensively speaking, have been controlled by the youngsters. 2 goals from a freshman in Bays, 2 goals from a sophomore in Clark, and a goal from a junior in Henderson.
The kids are all right, as they say. But Najia lost the handle, got it back. And a great screen by Jennings. And a shot low. Zabukovic scoops it up. We've got another whistle and a flag. And this is going to be a 1-minute penalty, I think, for warding off.
I think it's for the screen because you can't screen in lacrosse, but it felt like the flag came in a little later than that, so that's the only reason I'm not sure.
Don't see anybody in the box for Penn, but I do see Stewart in the box for South Bend. So it's called on Jake and Stewart. It'll be a 1-minute penalty, and it comes with 7 minutes to go in the game.
So Penn, who's scored on its last 2 man-up situations, now has another man-up opportunity and a chance to double up South Bend here.
Bays is able to put the check on Favorite and get the ball back.
What did he do over there?
Clark to Henderson. Clark. Now Bays has the last 2 goals for the Kingsmen. Paulus in the middle. Nice shot. Score! Joey DePalma. And another sophomore finds the scoreboard. But Paulus really acting almost like a point guard here, the trigger man, and he found the cutter right in the middle of the defense.
DePalma coming through. And suddenly, Penn has broken the will of South Bend here in the 4th period.
It is a 6-3 Kingsman lead with 6:35 to go. So the defending state champs are on the ropes right now. Let's see what they've got in them here in the last 6:35.
Must-win face-off here for Breiler and South Bend.
Breiler goes to work against Pica, and a hold called against Pica. It will go to South Bend. Here comes Breiler racing right past Pica. Flag is thrown as Breiler shoots low. Lataro makes the stop, and now it'll be South Bend with the EMO. An elbow called against Pica.
That goal was a man up, or they were still man up when he scored that goal, correct?
That is 3 straight. It's been the story of the second half.
No doubt. And against the South Bend team that has been excellent in penalty kill.
Well, they were perfect over the weekend. Granted, that was against Leo, and we don't know if Leo is on the level of Penn. I'm getting the feeling right now they're not. Blake Basil checks into the game now for Penn. He wears 33 as you look at Troxel, who has been held scoreless tonight.
That senior leadership for the South Bend attack needed big time here in the final 6 minutes.
Aiden Deal not only blocked the shot, he recovered the rebound, and Penn gets it back with big Kyle Natusco on the move. Natusco throws it into base. Bay's trying to run around. Remember, it's a man advantage situation here.
They're going to give this to Zabukovic.
Here come the Bears, Middlebrook. Into the middle of the field. Here's Troxel. Ian Strasser on the field now for South Bend. He wears 34. Troxel and the Bears trying not to lose precious seconds here. But Penn really gumming up the middle in front of the goal.
They just won't allow the opportunity to happen. They're staying goal side on every opportunity here.
Strasser and a flag thrown against the Kingsmen. Strasser loses the ball. It's picked up, though, by the Bears. Breiler flashes to the middle. Breiler backhands the pass. Natusco knocks the man down. There's another flag. And finally, we'll get a whistle with 4:43 to go in regulation. 6-3 Penn on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Reliance, building homes from initial concept to full completion. We do it all.
Penn is down 2 men now, so South Bend has a 6-4 advantage here, trying to get back into the game.
Natusco and Mallory guilty of the infractions. Troxel to Breiler. Breiler runs around. Buggy whip. Lataro with another stop. He's been terrific. It's either he or Bays for player of the game tonight.
Lataro's been great. Lived up the hype of a Western Michigan-bound goalie.
I know the South Bend coaches were singing his praises at practice the other day. They said he is an excellent goalie. Here's a shot that goes high by Troxel, and the run for it goes to South Bend.
Ivy Tech's dual credit and dual enrollment programs let students begin earning college credit while still in high school. High school students can earn a certificate to head straight into a high-wage, high-demand career immediately after graduation.
Breiler misses wide, and Lataro ran out of the net to allow his team to regain possession.
I think he heard you about who's going to be the player of the game.
A whistle, and there's a player down on the field, so the clock stops with 3:56 to go as one of the South Bend Bears is down at about the 25-yard line. And it looks like a cramp is going on here. So it gives us a chance to remind you there's more in our spring sports showcase here on TV 46. We go back to the Diamond next week. Over to Petco Field in Mishawaka. Big Northern Lakes Conference battle. Northridge got a win the other night to start off conference play. So did Mishawaka. Those two will go head-to-head. We'll have it for you next Friday night at 11 and Saturday morning at 9. And as the season goes on, Marion and Penn, and what it looks like it could be for first place in the NIC. Marion had a huge win against St. Joe coming back from 5 on Monday night. Penn, of course, has had that dominant pitching. St. Joe, Michigan, having a great girls soccer season up in Michigan. And then the track, sectional for the boys, regional for the girls. Some great track talent in the area that we're anxious to showcase here on TV 46.
And the weather gods have helped us out so far. Let's continue to have that pattern going for the rest of the spring sports season. Is that Ethan Breiler, I believe, was the player that was injured for South Bend. Unfortunately, as he comes off the field and going to be looked at by the training staff, I think it'll be a little bit more than just a cramp for him so far as he continues to be worked on.
That'd be a big loss for the Bears. Here's Tommy Paulus being stick checked, but it didn't bother him. Dom Jennings makes the nice catch down in the attack zone. And now Penn will try to work some clock, up by 3 with 3:38 to go. Boy, what a big win this would be for Pete Gillen's team. Started off the year 0-3 and come back and win 3 straight, including one over the defending state champs on their home turf.
Well, and they defeated South Bend last year, 6-5, low-scoring game. We wondered about that South Bend attack and whether or not they'd be able to really control the tempo. And while they've had possession, probably more so than Penn has tonight, the defense just has really not allowed the opportunities for shots to happen. And Lataro has done an excellent job in net to prevent any of the shots that were allowed from going in. Only 3 here for South Bend.
These two will meet again in a couple of weeks. Not unusual for teams. The Penn also filled a void on the schedule to get this game in on TV 46 tonight. And we appreciate that. And the work of the South Bend Bears cooperating with us. Both these teams knew the historical significance of getting a high school lacrosse game on television, and they've responded well.
And it's been an exciting night. And
Zabukovic is all the way out of the net.
Yeah,
the goalie with the ball.
Well, but you know what? He knows what he's doing in terms of playing upfield.
And a timeout called here by South Bend. We'll keep it here with 2:16 to go.
But now comes the urgency, and it doesn't matter if Penn scores again. If you're South Bend, you have to score. You're going to take every chance you can. You're going to play Zabukovic up because you're going to take the opportunities to try to get some goals here, and that's what they were doing there. They get the timeout, and now the possibility perhaps of trying to, you pull the goalie here and you give yourself a man-up advantage. You might give up a goal, but look, if you don't score, it doesn't matter. So they have no choice but to try to take some opportunities here.
Pete Gillen was a lacrosse player at Notre Dame back in 1990, so he truly appreciates the growth of the sport at the high school level, especially over the last 5 years.
It's a fun sport. It's a great team sport. You can't rely on just one person. You've got to work together as a team. The defense has to rely on the midfield and the attack has to rely on the defense and the goalie. So you got 25, 30 guys that are coming from all different spots in the spectrum, and they come together around a common cause. It's fun, and it moves fast.
And boy, that's been true tonight. It's truly been a team win for Penn should they hang on.
Well, and the sport is fun, and I love the fact that we're able to showcase it because there are a lot of people in this area that perhaps are watching lacrosse for the first time here tonight. Their only maybe understanding of it is watching Notre Dame perhaps every once in a while, but out in the Midwest, it's still a growing sport. I was lucky. I grew up in the Northeast and certainly got to go to Syracuse, which is a top power, well, was a top powerhouse in lacrosse over the years, and I got to be a beat reporter for lacrosse back in the day, but out here, if it wasn't for Notre Dame, I don't know if these two teams are playing here tonight because Notre Dame put it out on the map out here, and now they're showing that we've got some talent here in Michigan in terms of high school lacrosse.
So we've had one game and one Syracuse mention already. Okay, here we go.
I waited until 2:10 left in the game, though. Got to give me credit on that.
Bears with the ball, 2 minutes left in regulation. South Bend needs 3 to tie. Natusco battling for the ball with Penn and is called for the shove.
I mentioned Vermont before I mentioned Syracuse. So
well, that's true. But it's been a fun watch here tonight
it really
at
has.
School Field.
Even for a defensive battle.
And we haven't gotten all that deep into the weeds for you about how many men need to be where and things like that because we just want you to be able to enjoy the action too.
See if they pull the goalie here at some point.
Nevela working around, trying to run around his man, but seconds are ticking away. South Bend needs shots. There's Breiler in the middle. They couldn't get it to him. Nevela back outside to Troxel. Natusco bedevils him. He's had a wonderful game on defense. Shot by Troxel, and there's Lataro with another.
Well, I stand corrected, by the way, I'm pulling the goalie because you have to have the numbers, as you mentioned, on each side of the field. When he went across last time, they pulled somebody back. So, but Lataro has been excellent here tonight.
Was there a flag thrown there?
I don't know. I didn't see a flag.
Yeah, we've got a penalty here. A tripping call goes against the Kingsmen. And so Penn called for the trip, and the Bears will get the ball back now with the man advantage. But they've got to hurry here. And they're having problems scooping it up. Aaron Graybill finally comes up with it. Troxel on the far side as we go well under a minute here in the fourth. Troxel. Now Middlebrook fires low, and Lataro makes another stop. And he'll clear it the length of the field. The ball still finally went out of bounds, but valuable seconds going off the clock, and we're down to 24 left. What a job by Patrick Lataro tonight in goal, and I think he's going to wind up being our player of the game for this wonderful defensive effort. The shot blocked there by Ian Head, and Head was able to get it out of there. The Penn Kingsmen will go to 3-3 on the season as they knock off the club state champs from 2022, the South Bend Bears. The Kingsmen race onto the field to surround their goalie, Patrick Lataro, with a spectacular effort tonight, and the Kingsmen take it by a final score of 6-3. Now stick around, we've got a lot to talk about. Anj will chat with our player of the game, and we'll wrap things up from TCU School Field after this on 46.
Thanks for watching the WHME TV 46 High School Game of the Week, brought to you by
Crowd filing out of TCU School Field after the Penn Kingsmen have knocked off the state champion South Bend Bears by a count of 6-3 tonight. Welcome inside the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth. Chuck Fraby and Angelo DiCarlo high above the fray, and maybe a little bit different than what we expected, but credit the Penn defense. They They really did a great job stymieing a South Bend offense that had scored double digits in 5 straight games.
And maybe the Penn resiliency. They hung tough. They wore South Bend down. And just over the course of the game, you just saw Penn having a little bit more in the tank than South Bend because of that defense and how much they physically were pounding South Bend throughout the game.
Underclassmen with 5 goals for the Kingsmen tonight, 2 from Carson Bays, a freshman, 2 from Brooks Clark, a sophomore. But it was the steady goaltending that really carried the day for the Kingsmen. Moments ago, Anj caught up with the star of the game, Patrick Lataro of Penn.
Here with our player of the game, goalie Patrick Lataro, 9 saves on the evening. Patrick, what does this win mean to you guys?
It's a big win. We came out and fought hard. We played them last year, and it was a close game, so it's good to beat them again.
South Bend known for their goal scoring. You guys had a lot of pressure on you. What can you say about your defense playing in front of you, especially in that first period when they had the possession pretty much the entire quarter?
Yeah, I mean, they played their game. We all played good, and wouldn't do it without the good defense.
All right, on the season, maybe it wasn't the best start for you guys, but now starting to roll a little bit here. What can you say about the way this group has come together?
It was a slow start, but I'm glad that everyone's coming together, coming as a team, and good win today.
And how much fun is a night like this? The sport of lacrosse around here doesn't get on TV very often. Yeah. Here you guys are on TV, and you get the victory.
Yeah, it was a really fun night. I mean, win or lose, a close game is always really fun.
All right, Patrick, thank you very much. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you.
That's Patrick Lataro, our player of the game, as Penn gets the big victory over South Bend.
So the Kingsmen now 3-3. They've got a big date on Saturday with Culver Academy, and the South Bend Bears get a chance to bounce back. Park Tudor comes here to School Field on Saturday afternoon.
Well, and for Penn, obviously, the week gets even tougher against a team like Culver Academy, but now you're riding some momentum and an opportunity, and for South Bend, at least you're back at home for an opportunity to bounce back, and, they're going to play again not too far in the distant future. I imagine that game's going to be a really good one as well.
So we've got a lacrosse game under our belts now. We'll go back to something a little more comfortable, perhaps, like the softball diamond, where Northridge and Mishawaka will play, and we'll have that for you next Friday night from Petco Field, a key game in the Northern Lakes Conference race. We really appreciate the cooperation of both the South Bend Bears and the Penn Kingsmen lacrosse squads for getting this one on, and we always appreciate the work of our crew, led by our production manager, Dean Corsmo, Tony Beltran working the dials, and the usual cast of guys that work hard each week to bring you high school sports and accept the challenges that we throw their way with saying, we're going to do something that we haven't done before. That's all right. They responded well tonight, as did these two teams. So once again, a reminder, we've got Indy 11 soccer for you on Saturday night as Monterey FC comes into the Circle City to take on the Indy 11. We'll show it to you live Saturday night at 7. And then next Friday night at 11, Saturday morning at 9, high school softball from Mishawaka. Don't forget to follow us on social media. For Angelo DiCarlo, Chuck Freeby. Once again, the final, Penn 6, the Bears 3. So long from South Bend.